Maybe it'll get there. I want to believe it'll get there. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Walden. And in the last part, we built out this beautiful new addition over here, Sylvester, and we'd started Shore Park, or at least we mapped out the location. So before we get into anything else today, I think what I want to do is work a little bit more on Shore Park. We might not finish the whole thing, but I just imagine I was clicking around, and could you imagine? I mean, look at that. Look, could you even, with the Ferris wheel, like that would just... What a moment. So I think I want to add the Ferris wheel. I might even try to squeeze it in over here. I have to move that path. But like just something a little fun. It's kind of one of those buildings I would never build otherwise. So let's at least do a little bit of work here and see what we come up with. I can't guarantee we'll finish the whole thing, but let's see what we come up with.
Local stargazers are in for a real treat tonight. Professor Nutbutter.
It is a question of priority.
All right, so now we have our kind of first draft of Shore Park in place. It's looking pretty good. Do I have this on pause? Oh, there we go. It's paused. All right, let's zoom in here and just see what we've got. I did place down a large bicycle parking hall. That way, as we especially develop out this area a little bit, Sylvester, we have a place for everybody to park. But if you're also coming over the bridge to come over to this area, you've got a designated place to throw your bike before you get on this beautiful Ferris wheel. Look at that. Did a little bit of detailing in between here. I went through, I added, little, what are these? Like outhouses? Yeah, outhouses. Kind of like porta potty bathrooms. Got a little gazebo. In some places, we've got some benches. Then we've got this kind of plaza right here at the front where we have like an installation of some kind that you can sit and look at. We already have people walking into this park, which is so fun. And I purposely left it so that it was kind of open. That way, you get your photo op in front of the arches and you have the city in the background. Eventually that'll be nice and tall and it'll look really nice. We've got a fountain, little info kiosk, and we've got some little food areas. We've got tables and stuff. I added some parking in here as well in certain places. Over here, we've got the winding park, which I'm very happy to see people are already using it. However, a lot of these people are actually homeless and they're standing around because I've deleted their house. So over here, we've just got another parking lot. I'm thinking this is an alternative entrance, little food stall. We got some more outhouses. We've got this random building. I don't know. I also placed a pier over here with some umbrellas to kind of signify that we're going to have people on the beach. Will they ever actually get on the beach? No. Got a few hammocks. Just did a little bit of stuff. Kind of doing the whole thing, making it look nice. I did end up naming it Shore Park. I want to give a shout out to Confused Little Devil for the suggestion. I think it's a great name, kind of a fun way to combine the two words. Eventually, we might put in a lighthouse, but I want your guys' thoughts. Here's my conflict. I was gonna put a lighthouse. I had started messing around with a lighthouse, but it has to have a road. I don't want a road. I did fudge it here. I put a road here. I got a little road here. I brought this road out, but then I was like, it's just too much pavement. We could also put the lighthouse over here, but like for what end? Because it wouldn't make as much sense over here. People are coming in this way. Really, the lighthouse needs to be like here or here even. So when you come around, you're like, oh yeah. I don't know. Does a lighthouse into a lake make any sense? Maybe I'm just making this more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, now one other thing to talk about before we start really working on today's episode. Juicy Hamburger, huge shout out, great suggestion. They let me know that in the road builder, you can change, when you build your road, the speed limit. So I made this little alley, and it's very emblematic of alleyways you have in Philly, where you've got cars parked on one side. Typically, it's whatever direction you're going, it's on the right side. It's not always true, but for the most part it is. So you have parking on the right side, and then you have the left lane as the lane you drive in. I was also able to add in little tiny what is this, sidewalks. It doesn't work perfectly. As you can see, people are really walking in front of other people's houses and through stairs, but the idea is there, and it does mean that the pedestrians can walk this street a bit easier, at least procedurally, so that's great. But all of these are now 5 miles an hour. So what that has done is it has kind of pushed everybody to these 4-lane roads or 2-lane roads and gotten them off of the smaller alleyways. So all of that has worked really well, and there are no symbols right now for traffic. Now that we've gotten the park out of the way and we've gotten those roads out of the way, I think I want to go ahead and build out some type of garbage management. I really don't like the landfills. The problem we're going to have is all these other buildings cost so much money, $6.3 million. Now, granted, that's a unique building, but still, the principle still stands. I think I want to build an incinerator. It's $1 million to build, and it costs a lot of money to upkeep. But we make $662,000 a month somehow. I'm not going to question the video game gods. And I think we could build this, offset some of that power that we are importing, and maybe save money in the long haul. So let's go ahead first and just unlock the incinerator. That's step number 1. Grab this puppy, $2. We love to see it. I still can't afford it. It's $1 million, but I would like to figure out where it's going to go. And I'm wondering if we need to purchase another tile, just because there's a huge section here that's water, which is not very helpful. If I look at our wind turbines, the wind is going this way. In all reality, I mean, I'd love to have it over here in this tile. This could still be some kind of park because we wouldn't really be able to build much here anyway, but it would keep it kind of out of the way. Is it too big to go right here? Oh my gosh, it's way too big. Although, is it? Hold on. Is it? Because it could... theoretically, like, it could go right here. $1 million smackaroos. All right, now that we have this in place, before we unpause, let's look at our service trade. We're spending $153,500 on electricity imports at the moment. Now, we should be able to, if I turn on Anarchy and connect this back up, there we go. Then I go underground here and remove... Let's remove this entire line. Now that we actually have kind of a setup here, I would like to make this look a little bit nicer. So turn Anarchy back off for this. We don't need Anarchy right now. This should be able to connect right into here. And then this, I'm going to send it up and then over. So all of our electricity should be going through this guy. And I actually think this counts as a substation, if I'm not crazy. So what I wouldn't mind is to connect up to this and send it straight on over to here somehow. Let's just go like this, maybe to here. If I was to send this straight, those auto connect. That's beautiful. Remove those two. Are they still connected? They are. And we've got a little power line here, which is nice. Now, let's give this a road in the front, and then we can unpause, because we want to make sure this is nice and connected up before we unpause, and then everybody leaves because there's no electricity in this entire place. Let's connect up to the center of the alleyway, and I'm going to send it straight on in. Go and hit play. That should correct all these problems. At least for now, it's going to be correcting it because we're still going to be importing. I don't think this is producing power yet. No, we're still importing. While this begins to send out its crew, I think what we want to do is add a few things into here. How many vehicles do you have? You have 50. That is more than enough. I think a building this size, though, would command having its own parking lot. And I don't know. I could place my own, but I do like building them. So let's do a one-way perpendicular angled parking. We're going to place it, I think, 2 tiles back. Whoa. You guys don't have water now. Water availability, consumption 58, output. Water facility overload. The building cannot pump enough water to match the demand. I'm feeling as though the water, just like out of nowhere, decided to get funky fresh. But I guess we need water. So let's just figure out what we have to do here. If we were to do a groundwater pumping station, extracts water from underground deposits, delivers it to the city via water pipes, can be upgraded with an extra pump and an advanced filtering system. $10,000 a month upkeep versus a pump, $5,000 a month upkeep. And this does less. I mean, we are right on the water. There's really no reason not to be collecting from here. The question, I guess, is where do we want to be pulling the water from? We could, do it over here in the park, which could be a reason to bring a road up here. But I'm liking not having the road. If I'm being totally honest, I'm liking not having the road there. And I can't do it where we have keys. So that's not going to work either. I might need to pause it. I don't want to place it too far into the industrial. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it maybe right here. What does our pollution look like? Water pollution, we have none. Great. Ground pollution, there is some, but it has stopped before we get to this area. So I think I can get away with placing one of these guys right here. Now, similar to what we did with our fishing industry, which, if I do have to say so myself, she's a marvel. She's doing great work. Everybody loves her. I think what I'd like to do is I would like to create an additional intersection over here. Where that intersection goes to, I don't know yet. Let's do this. Let's send this to here. And maybe we send this here. Now, let's make some adjustments. No need for us to have crosswalks there. I would like the world's tiniest little roundabout on this other end. So we're going to bring this out a little bit further. Give it a little roundabout. Cornfield Lane. That's perfect. You need to be connected into the rest of the system, but you are through that. With that in place, I'm actually going to delete this other water tower. This was very much a... We're not ready to build a full-on system yet, but we will... We need to kind of quickly adjust. Now that we have this in place, I don't think that's as necessary. Is there a stoplight on or stop sign on this? No, it's just this vehicle. Because this road is becoming a major thoroughfare, I think what I'd like to see is the opportunity for people to kind of get out of here real quick. So when you get up to this point, we can then go back down into a smaller road network. Because I do think a 4-lane asymmetrical is probably overkill. Does it give me a dedicated bus lane? It does. It does. And 2 lanes turn out of the city. That might not be as overkill as I thought it was. In fact, I might double down on that and commit. Right here, we're going to also do the same thing as we did before. We're going to remove these crosswalks and we're going to remove this light. I don't think they're necessary. This, for all intents, is a service road. I also think here, yes, technically, you would probably want a light there. I'm going to remove it because I just don't think we need it. Let's get back to building out our little parking lot that we've got going on here. I actually think that this connection's maybe a little bit too close. So we'll do it here. This connection is going to be an in only, and this will be an out only. Then what we'll do is we'll place down our parking. Pretty decent. Okay, there we go. We've got a general parking lot. We are seeing some traffic with cars trying to turn into this lane. There's just not going to be anything I can do about that. In reality, that just is what it is. We may be able to take them off the main road. Like this. But I can't guarantee moving them off the main road is actually going to help me any, but we could take them off the main road and have them be in a dedicated lane so that those who are trying to get past them still have the opportunity to get past them. Although none of these people actually want to get past them, that's okay. See, and then that doesn't delay the bus. Okay, I actually don't mind that. That's pretty decent. All right, let me quickly just give this a little bit of surfaces and some slight tree coverage. I don't think it's going to need all that much. Great. Now, let's actually do this. I'm going to upgrade this road to my custom road because it's 5 miles an hour. So they're going to choose to go this way. And they're going to have to go nice and slow to get where they got to go. It does not need to have a fancy light. And frankly, it needs to have 0 crossings. Okay. Now we've got our new station here. 2586. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So what's our export look like? We're producing more than we need. Electricity trade, we're exporting 11.3. How's that turn things around? Service trade 0. Service trade $21,000. I love that. I love that. And we're solving 2 problems at once. We're dealing with the trash and we're dealing with the electricity, which is perfect. So let's go ahead and go build out just a little bit more road work here. This is an industrial area. So I am going to probably leave it relatively gridded, although we do have a little bit of a hill kind of forming that direction. I would be fine with bringing this up to kind of the base of our operations over here. Send this around this way. Maybe send this straight on up to here. Maybe we send it a little bit further up and send it over. Right, so now we've got a connection between these 2 neighborhoods, these neighboring areas, without doing anything too crazy. And here, again, we're still in the industrial area, so it's going to be a little bit more rigid than I may do for other areas in our build. But I think that's okay. I think it being an industrial area, it almost asks for that. I'm going to give this a little bit of a roundabout. I'm thinking a large might be a little bit big, but it's just going to be something kind of interesting for that section. And then I think what we want to do is we want to figure out how we're going to zone the rest of this so that we can fit in some more zoning. This is going to come straight out to here. And then I think we're going to use this as our new guide. We'll send this straight on over. Send it straight on down. This can connect into this strange little node. We'll leave that space open. We will do a connecting road right through here. Just gives us a little bit more interesting kind of setup there. I don't mind it. And let's just do some quick zoning here. I'm going to use platter for this. And I'm just going to go ahead and zone 6 by 6 right here. Along here, I'm going to ignore that triangle, I think, for now. Let's do a 6 back. Let's reduce the size a bit. I think if I go here, I can also fit a 2 in there. If I turn off these 2 guys, we can place this right along the interior. One day I'm gonna master what buttons I'm supposed to hit when. We're not there yet. And then I think right here I'm actually gonna place a little bit of just general commercial, because I think having just a lick of commercial here would go a long way. Okay, we're getting a bit more jobs in here. We've got some other places where it would just make sense to build out some jobs. I really want the developers to take a bit more care with industrial. We have so many options for every other type of building, yet we only get one zonable type of industrial, and it's supposed to be representative of everything. And I just think that's a little ridiculous. Come on, give us all different kinds of industrial. Clean industrial, dirty industrial. Give me different styles. I'm sure there are some kind of different styles. We live in a world where there's millions of different ways to do things. All right, let's do it like that, I think. Ooh. There we go. I think that did work. We were able to fill that perfectly. All right, we're going to let this zone in a little bit. I don't want to get too slap happy with the zoning there. I am going to take an alleyway, just give some increased connectivity for those who are walking. I don't remember who commented it, but someone did say that I did not put any post boxes in the industrial area, and you would be right. You would be so right. We're going to place one here. And then we're going to place one over here on this corner, kind of covering this whole new section here. I'm also going to place one. We've got 3 guys right here. We're going to place one right here in the heart of the farmland. And I guess I should also place one over here in this area next to all of that. Okay, great. So we've got our post going. There is what appears to be a lick of traffic right here along Moore Street. I am starting to think that Moore Street might need a little bit more upgrading than it's had in the past. If I was just to come in here with a asymmetrical and you exit out, you get to get on that asymmetrical guy. It's perfect. Okay. Funny enough, with this one little tiny commercial building we placed here, which is Brag and Roost, it sells lodging. People are choosing to stay here, which, like, I don't know why that's the decision they've made. But in the heart of an industrial area, maybe it's you know what? No, I can't think of any valid reason why you would choose to stay here. But that one building destroyed all demand we have for commercial taxes and local demand. I am curious. We're making money. We're making a decent amount of money, and they're saying taxes. If I was just to bring that back down to 10%, I think that would help a lot. I don't really care that there's a lot of taxes for the industrial, and I'm frankly tempted to increase that a little bit just because I think I need less industrial in my life, I think, is my feelings. But this is looking pretty decent. We're going to leave this for now. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our buses. We started a bus network, and then we began to build things out. We have 3 bus lines. We've got about 1,000 people taking public transportation a month if we consider taxis public transportation. 750 of them are taking buses. But if we look, our bus lines kind of stopped where we stopped other parts of the city. So I think it's time we expand some of these. We've got this line here, the Riverfront Express, which really should be Bayfront. And that goes into this industrial area, which is nice. I think we could make some revisions, though. If we check here, this building here employs 60 people. I think what I'd like to do is turn off EU. So there's a few less icons. Let's do NA bus stop shelter with bicycle stands. And we're going to place that maybe right here, kind of right around where this little green foliage area is. I'm then going to add this to our route, which kind of means that this bus stop is somewhat redundant. So I'm going to move this bus stop, and I'm actually going to do it again with the bikes. I don't see why not. Remove this bus stop, and instead shift that further down here, right? Great. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to move this bus stop right to here. I'm also going to place another bus stop right here. These are a little close. I'm willing to leave it and just see what happens. We'll place one connection here. We'll place another connection here. We'll remove this connection. So now we have somewhat of a loop happening here. That's all right. Then the bus goes all the way along the front here and does a loop around this block. But now this has changed. What I'd like to see, we've got this stop here. The next stop is back here. I think what I want to do is I actually want to move that stop over to this road here. We're going to do it with bikes because we've got bikes all over the city. And then it's going to turn this direction, and we're going to go into Market Town. We're going to stop right behind the farmer's market, and we're going to go up 1, 2, 3 would be over here. We don't have anything else built over here just yet. But for the sake of me remembering that this is how this is going to work, I'm going to place a stop here. It's probably not going to be used. That's okay. This is going to then turn around. We'll have a stop kind of mirroring this one. So for now, I'm just going to put them side by side. We'll have another stop mirroring this one. It's going to come back down this direction, and we'll have another stop here. This stop I'm going to place on this smaller curved section just to preserve, I think, some of these trees. So now let's do this. Let's remove this connection entirely. Let's take this connection, bring it to here. Take this connection, bring it to here. Take this guy, bring it to here. We're going to stop on the way back. I know this is ridiculous at the moment. I know. But we're going to do it so that I don't have to do it later. And then we're going to connect back up to here. So that's had a slight adjustment. We can remove that particular piece. I love this corner building, by the way. That's a great corner building. We are getting a lot of traffic in these areas, so be prepared. There might be a lot of asphalt that is added to this build as we keep going. There's a number of roads here that may benefit from becoming becoming avenues. So just give it some time, but that's probably going to be happening sooner rather than later. Now, that's one of our bus routes. We also have this bus route here, which goes into our farming land and cuts through cuts through Old City, but then it just loops around here. And now we have this stop here that we could also share. So if this route was to come a little bit further down as well, I'd say we could probably not even add any additional stops. I think we would just take this and connect it right up to that spot. I don't think it necessarily needs any other stop anywhere in here, but that gives us a natural transfer right there, which I think is going to be very valuable. Then we look at this guy. This guy's fine at the moment. Fine at the moment. I do think we're going to end up wanting to change one of these routes to go over the bridge. But before we do any of that, we finally built up a little bit more money. Let's think about building out this ferry depot. It does have medium noise pollution. However, if I was to buy maybe this tile, or do I just buy this one? I think we buy this one. Only costs $8,000 a month. It's pretty cheap, all things considered. We can preserve this cliffside, which I do like, and I think I might actually turn some of this into a beach. Strange, considering where we are, but I think I might do that. I am going to... I think I want to get rid of the zoning that's here. Low density business. Yeah, I want to get rid of that zoning because I think I want to make a slight edit to this area. Let's get continuous going here. And what we're going to do is stick it to the ground. We're going to send a road over this direction. Turn everything off except for the angle. We're going to send it over this direction. Actually, better yet, I'd rather take it from here. Let's connect here. And let's have a road that kind of follows the front. Maybe we actually send it from here. Let's do it this way. If I turn all these on and I give this a little straight section and then we curve it. We can curve it to here. I'm going to turn everything back off now. And I'm going to slowly navigate this over to this section here. So that's pretty good. It's hugging the back of this somewhat slight cliff area. But I think what I would like to do is have our ferry depot right here. Didn't even look at the price. Didn't care. We don't worry about pricing here. I mean, we do. All we do is worry about pricing. Let's be real. Let's connect that up and in. Now that's connected. It's got all it needs for water, sewage, and power. It's a little bit far away from everything, but I think that's okay for the moment. And the reason we're building that is because in addition to our bus lines, I think we should add some ferries. If I stay on top of some of this public transit kind of early on, I think we've got a great opportunity to really make it a cornerstone of everything that we're doing. So why don't we just do a Shoreline ferry stop for now? I'd love to place it right here if I can. Does that count as connected? I imagine it does not. No pedestrian access. If I was to do this, does that count? It does. That works perfectly. So what we could do is I go from here to here. Don't connect to anything other than to angle. End to existing snap twos. Go from here to here. Right? Bam. And then go from here to here. Just like that. Now we've got pedestrian access and we have access to this bus stop, which is great. So there's our first ferry stop serving the industrial area. Then we come over here. I think I would also want another one kind of in this area. We've got multiple buses that are connecting here. So I think having one here would make a lot of sense. Let's see if we can get it to be somewhat lined up here like so. Then similarly to the last one, I think what I'd want to do is I would just want to make like a little kind of square pedestrian plaza there. We might figure out how that looks in a moment. There might be some changes there, but I think that's pretty decent. We got one here, one here. Then I think we're going to want to have some key ones. So you come over here. This area right here is where our school is. So I'm going to place this right here where the school is, in water. Why do you keep doing this to me where you act like that's a problem? You are literally a vehicle designed to be in the water. And then the next one we're going to place is not going to be anywhere here. It's going to be a little bit further up. So we're going to have one there and then we'll have one over here. It's kind of matching what we're doing with this bus right here. We are expanding the infrastructure for the future in some respect. I recognize we are not going to use it right this second, but that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn this all off. I'm also going to turn off angles for this because I do want to get kind of like a little bit more of a flowy moment going. If I was to do a road like this, yes, there we go. Okay, and then we're just going to connect this up and in. Then we got to get over there. So really, this is going to need to continuous kind of move its way through all this. This is going to become a very busy section here. Now it's placing our first ferry line. We're going to go from here, take that ferry all the way over to here, take the ferry up our brand new canal, loop it back around, and on the way back, will it stop? I mean, really, I think what I want is to just go ahead and place the ferries along this side, right? Wouldn't that make sense? I think we could probably just do one over here for now, right in the center. Or do we kind of match the same thing we were doing over there where we have one here and then we have one up this way? I think that would probably work well too. Let me remove what's going on here. And let's see where we can finagle this in. This is right next to a pedestrian path, which for me, I'm pretty interested in. Although right here we have a pedestrian and bike path, which I actually would argue might be better. So let's place this right here in water. There it is not. Over here we don't have any paths to worry about. I'm just going to place it just north of the other path. Now I just got to replace some of our fish. Just like so. There we go. Those are all reconnected. Now let's see if we can do this. If I was here and I was to come down this side, I would likely pass all of this here. I don't need to reconnect to that. But my thinking here is this allows for people who are working over here in Blackwood to get on the ferry eventually when people live there and go right on over, which I think would be very useful. But now we've got ferries as well. Oh my gosh, look, our first ferry. That's so exciting. We're going to let that run for a second before we get involved and try to mess with it. I will say, though, this is making me second guess the orientation I have here. Why don't we go ahead and just switch that? Because I really don't like that it's put the ferry stops the wrong direction. Before I do anything, I got to do anarchy with this. If I turn all this off and I rotate it, does it keep the correct key? No, it doesn't. But honestly, that makes a little bit more sense because this key has guardrails. Okay, we're going to live with that. That's actually not too bad. So turning Anarchy back off, we've got our ferry line in place, which is fantastic. I think what we want to do, while we let that figure itself out, I want to figure out what these 2 ferry stops look like. Okay, it's nothing crazy. It's just a little something just to make this look like it actually had a purpose. I do think, now that I'm kind of looking at it, I do think I want to have a little bit of sand. We've got a bit of a cliff here, so we're going to ignore that section. But I think right around here, up until this white contour line, I think this is kind of where there would be a little bit of sand. And maybe what we'll do for now is we'll end it here next to our fishing. Bam. Yeah, I think that just gives it a little bit of something. Just a tiny something, which is nice. It does look like traffic issues have been resolved, although I'm only seeing 1 ferry. Does this line only have 1 ferry? Assigned vehicles 2. There's the second. I'm going to say, let's give it 3. Because how many vehicles do we have available to us here? 20? Yeah, let's at least start using them, right? Why not? So we're going to have 3 vehicles there. That's great. This one looks pretty decent. Let's move over to this one here. This is an industrial area, so it's going to be a little bit different style than what we just did over there. I'm going to use a concrete surface here. We're just going to fill this area with a concrete surface, right? We're still going to have some protections in place for the people who are here, but it's going to be a bit more utilitarian than what we did on the other one. So let's go ahead and grab the bollards. I know they're here somewhere. We just got to find them. Are they in here? Yeah, at the bottom. We're going to grab these bollards. We're going to do this with the straight line tool, go into fence mode, and we're going to bring these down to, I want to say like 8 maybe a little bit less, maybe 6, just to protect everyone here from anybody driving over here who might be not paying the most attention. I also think I want to do some type of coverage while people wait. We should be able to get really close to making 1 very long covered area. Yes, just like that. Now, I'm not crazy. We're not going to not do any benches, but it's just not going to be as comfortable as the other area was. If I come up here to benches, we got a few different styles. I think here, though, we are going to work with some blue benches. Okay. Now, I'm curious how this is all going to go. So let's go ahead and follow this guy. Right now, we've got 1 passenger on our ferry route. We're going to up the time to 3 times speed, pass by our beautiful, beautiful fishing industry. Coming over here to our Bayview neighborhood of the city. And how many people are on it now? 0. There are 0 people on it now. Look, it maybe it's not the most used network in our city, but maybe it'll get there. I want to believe it'll get there. Wrapping around this corner here, going past our beautiful park over here. You pick up 1 person. Just 1. This whole boat is for you. It's actually a private boat just for you. I hope you get home safely. Next stop, there ain't going to be nobody on this one. Still 1. Still 1. And now we're going to move our way back to the main area. I don't feel like I want to stop back at this central spot again. I just feel like that would be a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, you let me know. But we've got a few more boats moving around here, which is exciting. And with that, I think we've covered everything I wanted to do today, except I would like to build the bottle cap office. The bottle cap office has a 60 attractiveness. It is applies plus 5% industrial efficiency citywide, plus 5% export profit citywide, plus 5% entertainment citywide. And it just is a funky looking building. So part of me was trying to think if we could build it in over here. You've got this huge park, which in some respect is going to be a tourist attraction. And although this is an office, we have a museum devoted to a somewhat storied history of our energy drink. So if this is a big tourist attraction, this could also be a huge tourist attraction. Part of me wants it to fit right in here, but I like placing it here. Wow, that is a red bottle cap. That is a red bottle cap. Look at her go. It employs 54 people, which is great. It's also, funny enough, a media company. So we are kind of becoming like Toronto. Look at that. Let's go ahead and just give this a little bit of work. I'm going to take an alleyway and place that right along the back. Just like so. Great. That gives an exit for some of these areas. And I do think this needs a parking lot of some kind. I am going to just quickly, too, remove the parking on this little section of bridge. We do not need that. In fact, I wonder if this whole area here just gets expanded to allow for easier access to this side of the river. And likewise, this area here gets expanded, easier access to this side of the river. Let's go ahead and place, I think, a relatively large parking lot right here. This one we will place by hand. It does not need to be something we design. But I think right across the street from this guy, or maybe right here, right behind it, could be a decent spot for a parking lot. You know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to place this right here. But we're going to place it so that we've got that one space left. Oh, it's not perfect. I don't think we're going to get it perfect. We're going to leave it be. Let's just go ahead and give this a little bit of tree coverage here right along this side. So now I've got that kind of parking lot protected, but now we're getting a decent amount of bonuses from some of these unique buildings. Traffic has been solved. Trash has been solved. Electricity has been solved. This is now only producing 7.98, which isn't great. So it does make me wonder, should we, I've never built these before, should we build an emergency power station? It's $150,000, but it can hold a ton of capacity. Now, when we have huge influxes of power, those influxes can be stored here, discharging, empty in 549, 547. It's unclear what unit of measurement that is. Additional battery bank can be added on, and this is a diesel generator, which kind of defeats the point though, right? An additional power plant fueled by oil. The diesel generator is used as a backup source for electricity if the charge in the batteries depletes. No, we're going to just let that sit. I might need to come back and make some edits there. We've got some large infrastructure now on that side. We're still making good money, so let's go ahead and just repay this loan. Get that off of our books. We have no money now, but I'm going to do a few small edits in between parts. And while I do that, I think we'll be able to get that money back up to not zero. We do have 2 people there. Look at that. Any other decent numbers? 1 and 1 dog and 2. Okay. Some people are using it. Some people aren't. Buses are still kind of horrendous. I think part of the problem we have with our transportation is that we're just not big enough. There's not a lot of places to go. You could easily walk from here to the other side of the city, no problem. So with time, I think as we grow outwards, there's going to be more need for the transportation. I don't know if it's reflective of the efficiency at the moment. We got to give it a little bit more runtime before we make that call. In the next part, I do want to work on Sylvester. Let's start getting some people over this river, which I think is going to make an impact on some things. And we'll continue to just expand outwards. I think we need to work on this highway connection here, get another entrance to the city, and see what we come up with next. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members-only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lord, I follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out.